Guys, it's night here and we're going to be doing a night vision generation test, kind of like a shootout. This is more or less how it looks with your naked eye. This is about ISO 3600 on a Galaxy S8 phone, filming with HDR, so we can get a sense of what it looks like with your naked eye. So then we're gonna start with all generations. We're gonna go from first generation to second generation US made, third generation PVS-7s, and third generation aviator tube, which is basically top of the line Omni 5 or 6 performance. It's a pretty good aviator tube, very clean, low EVI, and we'll kind of go selectively through each one of the night vision devices to kind of get a sense of what you get for the money you spend. So let's begin with our first device, which is a first generation LOMO ELF-1. This is made in Russia. It's not a bad scope, but obviously with a price tag of $99, it's 1x magnification, about 30 degrees field of view. It's not bad, but uses AA batteries and it works well. So we're gonna put it up and we're gonna get it going and see how it compares versus the unaided eye. So let's see, is it turned on? No. Oh yeah, it's not turned on, but we're gonna turn it on. Alright, so this is how our first generation device looks. It's pretty accurate, I would say. There's no illuminator. That thing that you see in the center is a little bit of an emission point or some sort of blooming that it's got. It's not bad. It works. It definitely, for $99, gets you into a night vision device. And then if we turn the illuminator, like I just did, you can see a little closer, but don't expect to see much further than a few yards. But it definitely works. It's usable for reading maps or anything. The only problem is that, as you will later see, this is like a flashlight for the generation 2s and 3 devices. Anyway, so here is the Gen 1, another thing, and we're gonna kind of do a little bit of a light test area, so you guys to see. We won't be doing this on the Gen 3s or the Gen 2s because those are more expensive and we don't want to ruin the tubes by exposing them to bright lights. This is again $99. It works well. So with that said, we're gonna shut it off and we're gonna proceed to the next device, which is an American made PVS-5 Liton M911A using a PVS-14 lens. I think this one will be better with a PVS-5C lens with the 0 or 1.05 f. This is our f1.2 lens. It's pretty good, but it's definitely not as good as as it could potentially be. But anyway, so here is the M. We can see the brand over there. It's USA made. It's a PVS-5. Effectively, it's a PVS objective. Sorry, eyepiece. And a PVS-14 eyepiece, so you guys can kind of see it. It works well. It's definitely a very good scope. You can find these ones definitely on the very affordable side on eBay if you look for them. So with nothing further to say about this guy, we're gonna fire it up and we're gonna get to see the differences between Gen 1 and Gen 2 live. Anyway, so here's the Gen 2. And this is what a few extra $100 gets you. So as you can see, the difference is pretty much, literally, no pun intended, is night and day. This is a very good scope. I mean, it's just like, yeah, you can basically see into the darkness, like cuts through the darkness like no mañana. I mean, this thing is really good. Just my phone skills are not that good though. So you can see the sky, is pretty good. It's definitely sharper when you look through it, but with the phone, it's kind of hard to really get the thing nailed. But you basically have an idea of the performance that a few extra $100 gets you over a $99 unit. So, you know, the Gen 2 is also United States made. It's a Generation 2 early device. This was probably made in the 80s. I don't know the date of the tube, but this is probably a 1980s device, at the latest in the 90s. But anyway, so this is basically a Gen 2 device. And now we're gonna go for the next candidate. The next candidate in here, it's American made. No, I'm gonna use mine. So, here, you keep yours. So I'll hold this one. Thanks, man. Coge eso. Yeah. Okay. So the next one we're gonna try is the tried and true PVS-7 American made with an Omni V tube. It's got a little bit of a blemish on them. It's very small dark spot, but it definitely doesn't affect functionality. It's a pretty good tube. Got it on a bargain. It was a repotted tube, fairly low EVI. It works well. The thing in the front is an UV light filter to protect the lens from getting dirty, and you know, it's just basically a standard PVS-7 with a Gen 3 Omni V era tube that has been repotted. Anyway, so with that said, we're gonna proceed to fire it up. And fire up. Alright, so this guy is ready to go, and this is how Gen 3 more or less looks like. So we're gonna, again, this is gonna be difficult to kind of, because the PVS-7 is not particularly suited for there. So this is, if I can get it in there. This is a PVS-7. Sorry for the image not being good. Yeah, as you guys can see, the light is just ridiculous. I mean, this is like turning the night and day. If the Gen 2 is good, this is like a huge step up in the evolution of night vision generations. And last but not least, we're gonna do an aviator tube, which is used by military pilots. It's considered the best tubes that you can buy, short of filmless, which unfortunately I don't have to do a comparison, but maybe someday, you know. So we're gonna have to settle for an Omni VI era thin, I don't know if it's thin film, but it's a fairly good tube, you know. It's a PVS-14 on a pit bull housing. It's a very small device. It's, you know, it's very well built. It's got the focusable illuminator over there. The lens on the PVS, the objective is 30 millimeters. The exit pupil is just ridiculous. You can look at these pretty much with glasses on. It's just a fantastic night vision device. So we're gonna be going and firing our Gen 3 aviator tube through the PVS. Make sure it's focused. Focus it. Make sure it's focused to see the thing correctly.
Yeah, it's focused.
All right. So, all right, and here comes the PVS-14 aviator tube, and this is the kind of performance that you get out of this baby. This is literally, I mean, this is so easy to focus. I mean, it's just like a pleasant view of the surroundings. You don't have to be on top of the IPs. It's just like amazing. This is a phenomenal device. You know, it's probably my most precious tube that I have, and I don't really have anything fancy. I mean, most of the stuff that I have is just good enough. I've seen some of the filmless tubes that are just like very good, But this is what about $2,000 gets you. You know, $2,000 versus the Generation 1 tube that we fired earlier. You fire the Gen 1 again. You have it?
Yeah. Under all this stuff.
Alright, give me that. Thank you, sir. Alright. So, sí, el Gen 1 está apagado.
No lo apagas.
Sí, está apagado. Fire the Gen. Fire the trusty Gen 1. Alright. Alright, that's fine. Doesn't matter. And this is Gen 1. So this is what $99 gets you. And any Gen 1 that you see on the internet is gonna have nearly similar performance to these. It's not gonna be anything any better. The only difference is the United States or the US made Gen 1 cascading tube that has triple cascade tubes, one after the other, and that one has similar to the Gen 2, good Gen 2 performance. It's a good tube, but those are huge, so it's not really something you can walk around with. It's probably for a rifle. But yeah, anyway, so this is Gen 1, and we're gonna give a last shot to our Gen 3 device to kind of get a sense of what the cache gets you. So this is what Gen 3 gets you, and that was what Gen 1 gets you. Anyways, hope this is a useful video for you guys when you're going to buy your devices. And my advice is get Gen 2 at the bare minimum. Otherwise, I think you might not be happy with your purchase. So this is G-Man 1971 from good old Wisconsin. See you later, guys. Have fun and keep the lights shining.